What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to the championship edition of the San Diego Prep Insider podcast. We are going to be discussing a lot of things. First off is my inability to make memes. Behind me, I realize that I lined this up poorly. That says RB Baseball, so it's not just us giving Carl Weathers a high five. It's us joining with the Dawkin family to represent the true sides of Rancho Bernardo baseball. There's a lot to talk about. All finals except for one are decided because Imperial and Monte Vista
got to slug it out.
Oh my God, why? Why? Just pick a game. Win it. Just win.
Meanwhile, UC's just like whoever you want.
Let's go.
Whoever you want.
Give me whoever you got.
Any of you guys watch Dune? Or follow those movie series.
I have not.
Jack Clark feels like the Lisan Al-Gaib. He's the chosen one here to take University City to the finals. Let's make our way. First off, let's introduce the gang here. Bodie De Silva is on the left. He is from Scorebook Live. Download the SB Live Sports app. It's the best way to keep track of all things high school sports. On the right, Dave Ring with DR Player Development. Don't kill his vibe. Whatever you do, just don't kill it. Just hit him up with positivity. Don't hit him up with negativity. He's not here for that.
Ball.
Let's ball. Ball. Let's talk some baseball. Let's talk some championships. Like we said, all of them are set. If you are listening to this after Thursday at 5 p.m., you're probably hearing some outdated information because these are starting to play right away. Let's start with 5AA. Calvin Christian and Rock Academy have made the finals. Guys, your thoughts? Bodie, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think maybe a little surprised that it went chalk and it was 1 versus 2. A Liberty Charter made a run there as the 8. They won that opening game, lost to Calvin, came back, and ultimately Calvin got through here on the top side. And Rock on the bottom, they've played some different games. They have a 1-0 win. They have a 12-5 win. That was against a Bonzel team that had just scored 23 in the game previous. So 1 versus 2, it's kind of exactly what I'm sure both of them had hoped for. Like, hey, we think we're the best. We're going to get that good challenge, and they're going to get to play under the lights at UC San Diego. So looking forward to seeing the result. Unfortunately, with 4 games on the same day, you're not going to get around to all of them. But, yeah, we're going to have seven champions decided this week, so that'll be fun.
Such a cool thing for the Division 5 crew to get to play at UCSD. I mean, that field is legit. If you've ever seen it. The trolley tracks in the back. Is it USD or UCSD?
Yeah, UCSD with the trolley there. And I think for 5 and 5AA, it's going to be perfect size. Like all your crowd's going to be together. That'll
Such a cool event. Yeah, I mean, I picked Rock earlier in the bracket. I've liked them. I like Diego Munoz. He's my guy on that team. He's pretty much running the show, pitching and hitting bombs. So I'm going to go with the Rock because I've stuck with them from the beginning.
All right, Dave Ring can smell what the Rock is cooking. Can you? Moving on to Division 5, we have Kearney and Mount Miguel. Now, this will be interesting because Mount Miguel, I'm not going to say has not been good at athletics because that's an unfair conversation, but they haven't been a championship caliber school in very many sports the last couple of years. This year, a deluge of finals appearances. Football, they are track. Like they're pretty good this year. Matty Ice and company. They have to get past Kearney for the championship. Kearney, 17 runs in their semifinal game to get here. So both of these teams shaping up to be what I think. Like there's always one championship, guys, that you're like low key. That was actually the best game. Like this one could low-key be the best of all of the games just because it's 2 teams that are hot, that are playing really good offensive baseball, and that's always fun to watch. Like, don't get me wrong, I really, on the work side of it, Bodie, I enjoyed that 2-1 CCA Montgomery game a couple years ago that took about 73 minutes. But it's fun to get some runs. And I think that this could be definitely one where we're going to get some runs. So, Bodie, I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, so this is one where neither of the teams needed that extra game yesterday, so I think that's going to help conserve pitching, maybe a little less on the offensive side because of that. But looking back, they played back on March 14th. I know it's been 9 weeks, whatever it is. Mount Miguel was able to score in 6 of 7 innings that day, put up 13 runs. So Kearney's seen them. Kearney also added to that. They had 3 errors that day. So what can Kearney do to kind of turn that around? Because they have been rolling. They They obviously were able to grab that 5 seed. Nothing was given to them early on, having to go against Coastal Academy and Mountain Umpire, all these other teams that were higher seeded. So the way Kearney's playing, I like that they have a 2-0 game. They have a 17-5 game. I'm going to go with Kearney and to pull the upset here.
Dave Ring?
Yeah, I've liked Kearney since the beginning too. I think everything's got to click in this game, and it's just going to come down to the least amount of mistakes, which you've seen in a lot of these games. You know, there could be a few errors, and that just completely blows the game open. So
yeah, that I think especially the big stage, which of these defenders, because you're probably not, unless Jack Clark's pitching, you're probably not going to have 15 strikeouts, balls in the air, balls on the ground. Which of these defenders can make those plays, get the ball safely to the base it needs to get
so I'll
to?
take Kearney. I think Kearney's got a shot, like you said, to put up a bunch of offense here, and I'll take them to clutch up and play some good defense and not make any mistakes this game.
All right, let's move on to Division 4, which is the one that we...
Of course it's undecided.
Where are we at? Okay, hi. Back to camera 1. Hello. UNLV baseball. We laugh. Look, Dave agrees. When you have kids, your sense of humor becomes very low. Well, it's just because you're tired all the time.
You're just numb.
Yeah, no, not numb. I'm enjoying it. Every single minute of it. I love it. Intern number 2 is killing it so far. Let's see. Where is the bracket? I lost the bracket. Okay, here we go. University City and then the winner of Imperial Monte Vista.
One of the few that maybe I picked the bracket right.
So,
Bottom line, yeah.
Can we all just agree that right now it would be an upset if Monte Vista or Imperial beats UC? Like I feel like that's not an unfair assessment of this game. Yes,
having to play again today, and then that turnaround where UC's got
UC's just been good.
Yeah.
UC is a number 1 seed, and they
For a
looked
reason.
like it for all season. So I guess
Imperial does have one pitcher that if he has a chance, I mean, he's as good as anyone in San Diego here. His name's Carter Tucker. He throws mid to high 8s. That could be if they make it past and he's still available, he's their best arm. So I do see him right there. Carter Tucker at the top.
Yeah, 85 strikeouts in 56 innings. So that's
right. So and he's had a really good year at the plate. So this is an interesting game. Monte Vista has a guy by the name of Tony McComb. That dude's like 6'4". Hit a huge triple at Petco earlier in the year. Man, this is a really, really tough game to pick because of how hot Monte Vista's been. And like you said, I think Imperial we don't know really how good they are. I do know them because they've got some players that I recognize, but Imperial's got a chance. So in this bracket, this could be a very, very interesting, test for UC. If they make it, if Imperial makes it and they have some pitching, I'm going to go personally with Imperial just because I think something's going to happen.
Ring betrays his alma mater.
No, to get past. I think something's.
This isn't Dave. This isn't a semifinals show.
I think something weird's going to happen, and then it's going to come down to UC.
We're not doing semifinals content. Let's change this one back here to Dave and not getting the show.
Generalissimo. I like that one.
I picked UC Monte Vista when the brackets came out. I'll stick with that. Ultimately, UC's just got too much.
Yeah, that's a tough pick, man.
On to Division 3, Valhalla and Mira Mesa. You talked about Kearney in the D5 game being something that hey, our sample size, it's all these weeks ago. The last time Valhalla lost was what? 7 weeks ago?
Yeah, the final day of the Lions tournament, and it was 19-0.
Yeah, and then they turned into Ivan Drago, walking into every game going, "I must break you."
It's remarkable the run they've been on.
I think at this point, even though Mira Mesa is hot and is good and is a worthy challenger and opponent, it would be bad baseball for me to pick that anybody's gonna they're gonna beat Valhalla for sure. Yes, Mira Mesa has a chance. If anybody in this bracket has a chance, it seems like Mira Mesa is one of the better ones to take a shot at it. But I find myself I can't come up with a rationale. I'm the king of. I'm with you until you show me otherwise. And so right now, I have no reason to think that Valhalla is going to wind up not winning this championship.
Yeah, and this is one. Valhalla is the 1 seed. I probably disrespected. Didn't even have them making the championship game here. I had Calexico on that side. But shout out to Mira Mesa. They don't have that 16-game winning streak, but they do have an 8-game winning streak. They got in that play-in game. They didn't even need to get to the double elimination part, so clearly they're playing their best baseball too. Ultimately, I gotta go back and side with Valhalla here, but I think this is going to be a tight game. I don't think Valhalla comes in and it's a 9-1 game or anything like that.
All I was saying is just that like Mira Mesa is a worthy opponent.
Yes.
But right now Valhalla is just too good, too hot. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Mira Mesa is a really young team. They've got freshmen in there contributing. I just don't think it's their year, in my opinion, but I do think that you got to give their coaching staff and them props for how well put together the end of the season's been. I do think Valhalla is in a different league of their own, and with Mira Mesa playing some lower division teams throughout the majority of the year, I don't know. I'm going to take Valhalla too, just because I think Mira Mesa's got a few years to get more seasoned, and you know they're enjoying that new field.
You're getting in early on the Mira Mesa train, and you're saying that this is Mira Mesa ahead of schedule, playing with house money.
There's been a culture change there. It's got new coaching. You know, it's just a different vibe than I've ever seen it there. It seems like
so. Let's just say Dave's now 2 for 2. He's doing a semifinals show, and he's already in on next year's content.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
so,
I
don't know what it is.
I
just
top 10 coming Tuesday.
I sense vibes, and that's just how the show works for me.
You're 9 of their 11 hitters are underclassmen, so you're onto something there. And they were 12-11 when the streak started. So to put together 8 in a row there, get to the championship game.
Yes,
and this is
finals show.
This is
Why
it.
are we talking about next year's content?
It's
You don't
just,
have newborn kids.
that's on
it's
you to
just
keep us on
vibes,
track.
bro. I don't know what it is. Today I got the shirt on.
Okay,
It's
you know what? You're right. I will sit in the penalty box for 60 seconds for killing Dave's vibe as we move on to Division 2, Point Loma, Bonita Vista, and I will skate off to the penalty box.
Yeah.
Wow. What a crazy bracket here.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you got to give so much credit to Bonita Vista to go 2 days in a row on the road, get those wins over Santa Fe Christian when they had to have them. It was 3-2 on Tuesday, then 5-1 yesterday. Yeah, I mean, road wins in the playoffs, road wins when your season's on the line, just to get there. And they're going to take on a Point Loma team that's been great. The Point Loma team that was 2-0 against Saints and battled in the Western League. And now Will Sanford already through this week, so he will be the center fielder here in this one, who's still one of their better bats. I went with Point Loma before. I will stick with Point Loma. We'll see if Coach Rigo Ledesma can get 2 straight CIF titles at 2 different schools. That would be an oddity there. Yeah,
the Pointers are poised. I mean, they've, even though they don't have Sanford, I think they've got the depth all year. You can just see how strong they've been through the bracket. I mean, Bonita Vista also, like you said, Coach Palais over there, he has them rolling.
Yep.
I don't know if they have Ishmael Castanon left, but they pitched their lefty yesterday. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's super crafty lefty. Got to give him credit. He's like their number 3. I mean, they 1 run to a team that has a ton of offense. So I like Point Loma. I think it's their time. I think they've played in a league that's extremely tough, just like Bonita Vista, but Point Loma's, it's time for them to kind of shine this year, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this one so interesting and why I felt so comfortable with Point Loma to get there is they were so tested in that league. But you could say the same about Bonita Vista. They struggled going up against Eastlake, but they got to this bracket now and were able to make their way through. And that was after an initial loss. They had to work their way back after losing to Helix and then going and beating Madison by a run and then beating Helix by a run, beating Santa Fe by a run, and then kind of cruising as much as you can yesterday. So, look, they'll need everyone available that they have left to pitch, and you're in the championship, and that's all you can ask for.
Okay, I'm back. Saying they don't have Will is a mass miscategorization of yes, they don't have him on the mound, but
Right.
he is the best singular individual remaining baseball player in all of the playoffs, in any bracket, in any division. And so that's like saying that you don't have Shohei just because he's not pitching.
Right.
They will still have an amazing hitter who's their team captain in center field. Like they still have.
Yeah.
Like it's
if he's not going to play center field if he's not the athlete he is and all that.
It's not like this was Roddy Robinson a couple years ago where like physically he was present at the Open Division Championship.
Yeah.
but
I mean, they got Drew Frost.
But Roddy's
and
body was basically just a beat down husk of himself.
Exactly.
He spent the whole season running the ball.
There's some hitters there. I mean, they have a bunch of hitters that have good stats. Drew Frost, Brandon Keeling, Kai Dickinson. These guys.
Any
These
thoughts
guys
on
can
next
hit.
year's Bonita team?
Dude, I'm not feeling the vibes of that right at this moment. So when it comes out, Christian.
All right, let's move on to Division One.
Just gotta let it happen.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. On to Division One, Poway and San Marcos. I will say two things here. Baseball playoffs are amazing because you think one thing's going to happen, and then 15 different things happen along the way to get you some random permutation of stuff. And two, Poway, I don't want to call it a surprise. Maybe can I say this? Tell me if this is a saying something without saying it as an insult. It's a pleasant surprise. The Poway's in the finals. I want to say this without an insult because Poway was not necessarily at the start of this season loaded up with like Blake Wagonseller type, like they're like premier talent that they've had some of these years. They
were second half surprise for sure.
They have clicked on all cylinders and are really firing now. And so that's why I say pleasant surprise, because anytime there's certain schools that you're just like, if they are good at this sport, like the vibes are right in the universe right now. So this championship game between San Marcos and Poway feels like immaculate vibes of like, no matter who wins this one, the D1 title is going to go to a team that everyone can get behind, of being like, great story, great kids, great journey to get there. That being said, it is unfortunate they can't just split the title and both of them, everyone go home happy. So let's hear from you guys who you think is going to win.
Yeah, so shout out, first of all, that I picked Lacoste and Del Norte in this final. So those other two semifinalists, congrats there. On Poway's side, they've won 13 of 15, so that kind of tracks exactly second half of the year. They got into a league, and were dominant there, and that's a league that still has good teams, Mission Hills and Sage Creek and all that, and they put it all together at the right time. And from San Marcos's point of view, to take that loss against La Costa, have to work their way back, a 20-0 win against Sage Creek, and then consecutive wins at La Costa. Super impressive what they had to do and ended up doing ultimately there, and winning all three of their games, or three of their four games at La Costa this year. I'm going to go with San Marcos here. I think with both teams having that to play that extra game, we're going to be low on pitching. It's not going to be a game played at San Marcos where you're like, okay, this is dominant hitting. There's going to be 5-6 home runs. I just think San Marcos has a couple more hitters in that lineup there that can drive the ball and going to get guys on base and ultimately capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, San Marcos is freaking loaded with bats. You do not want to pitch through that lineup a couple times if you're a pitcher. They've seen so many good pitchers in league, so I think they're going to be prepared with Poway. I mean, that middle of the lineup is as good as they've ever had. The three guys in the middle, J.J. Moran, Gavin Vanderpool and Max Farrell, and then you go with all the, the guys up at the top and the bottom. We've been giving them all love all year. I wanted to shout out a few guys on Poway because they've got a few seniors that have really anchored their squad this year. Trevor Say, he hit 291 this year. Jackson Burnett, both, top-level kids, both commits. Really, really hard workers. They anchored the infield. I think Trevor plays shortstop. Jackson does a little pitching, too. Jake Johnson over there has got 2 home runs. Trenton Ayeda, 20 stolen bases. So if you if you get an idea of like, okay, so you got some power, you got Trenton on base, he's turning bunt singles into triples, and then you got guys driving them in. So, and then the pitching, Landon Negro and Aiden Molinari with both sub-1 ERAs. Just wanted to shout them out. Didn't really see a ton of them over the year, throughout the year in my game balls, but
yeah, the pitching really came together for them, and
really, really. I mean, if you look at the post that Christian had about that last out in that Poway game, that was loud. That was like Petco Park loud, right? That was pretty cool. So congrats, you guys.
That's what I'm saying. They're a school that like they know how to do baseball right.
It's a baseball school
They
for sure.
have probably, arguably, I mean, maybe I'm disrespecting someone that I'm not thinking of, but they probably have the most famous scorekeeper / statistician in all of high school baseball. Yes, Bodie?
And
no?
some great sound effects. Whenever I'm like, I know that glass is going to get crashed or the car horn, whatever it might be. Jason does a great job.
So with all that being said, I'm going to pick San Marcos to win the game that I had to give Poway some love. I do think San Marcos is just got too many bats. Like you said, I think they're going to put up some runs this game. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to note here is both these teams are into regionals. Haven't heard any, unlike Southern Section, I haven't heard of any San Diego teams planning to opt out. That would be next week, a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday format. So San Diego's had some success in these regionals in recent years, and I know the kids take them seriously. It's not just, I mean, we've had teams in recent years, back-to-back years, Torrey and La Costa, getting in that Division II regional and going to win it. So just because your season ended, some of you will still get to keep it going, and there's something to play for, a big trophy and playing out-of-town teams.
And something that will eventually become more and more meaningful. It's only been a regional tournament for a couple of years. Like this is year 3 tops? Year 2 or 3?
4, I think.
4?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No. No way.
Was 2022 the first?
No, well, just 4 years ago would have been the middle of COVID. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it can only be a 3.
Feels really recent to me.
I feel like it's only been. But I'm not actually
It might be
genuinely asking
3.
you to
Well,
look that up, Bodie. There's
No,
so many more
what I can
important
tell
things.
you is that La Costa won it 3 years ago. That I know.
I feel like that was the first one.
Okay.
RB Torrey Pines. That is the Open Division final. That is the genesis of this. Look, during the course of the season, the three of us have to do certain things to keep ourselves sane. Because if we just came on here and we only talked singularly about just who was actually statistically the best base, like, it would get really boring because we would only talk about 4 or 5 teams. We'd only talk about 10 players. We sometimes have to sprinkle in inside jokes that are designed just to make us laugh and get us through the season. So when we say things like, oh, RB, never heard of them, like, we've heard of Rancho Bernardo baseball. Their coach won, 910 games at one point. Like,
yeah, Sam's the leader by a whole lot.
They've been very, very good for a very, very long time. There's probably almost as many pros that have come out of Rancho Bernardo as any other San Diego high school, and there are probably a couple of future pros on the team this year. None of it is disrespect. None of it ever has been disrespect. On the flip side, in this Open Division bracket, we have Torrey Pines, another one where they bounced in and out of that one spot a couple of times this season. And what are you going to do? You're going to post a couple memes for them? You're going to post a couple of memes against them? They've basically embodied that Jordan meme of, like, I saw that happen and then I took it personally. And Torrey Pines saw they took some L's to Del Norte and then they took it personally. They've been really, really hot since. This is going to be an amazing game. Well, I'll say this will be one of two things. This will either be a weird blowout where everyone's like, how the hell did that happen? Because baseball's just weird sometimes. Or this is going to be like a 13-inning slugfest of an amazing baseball game, because that was what we saw the last time Torrey Pines was at USD for an Open Division championship. And so
some good players on that one.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
just
Kevin
looking at
Sim and Mac Bingham, and like, we're at that same category where we are talking about we are finishing off the season, even though this one's happening today on Thursday. We're finishing off the totality of the San Diego high school athletics season with like 2 groups of dudes going out onto that field, where you're going to have somebody who will probably will be in a bullpen in 5 years, winning a World Series, somebody who will be a starting second baseman on a college World Series team. Like, there's a lot of really good baseball players. So no matter what, we're about to see an amazing game at Fowler Park. I'm curious, though, how you guys break it down in terms of who's going to win or lose.
Yeah, so the first thing I look at, I think both are going to be pretty disappointed in that they weren't able to get it done and win that semifinal game Tuesday. Now, ultimately, your goal is to get there. You never know what's going to happen. You got to rely on both of them having committed players throughout the lineup, guys that are going to step up and get those hits. Yeah, you would have loved to have seen a Brady Dokken against Peyton Rogers final. Ultimately, that was a day earlier. They both needed him in the semis to get there, and they're both going to have to heavily rely on the pitchers that they have with available pitches for the rest of this inning. So, for the rest of this week. Yeah, there's complete familiarity between these two, having played in league. Rancho Bernardo was the league winner. But I think knowing a little less about what you're going to get on the mound when you don't have your ace going, I think leaves a little to kind of be uncertain on exactly how you feel the game's going that way. With that said, RB has hit throughout the season. Their lineup's not completely whole right now. And from Torrey Pines' point of view, they struggled hitting early. They had the loss to Sage Creek. They lost that series against Del Norte, but they've come around of late. They've got enough hitting in these games, and we know how superb their pitching's been throughout. So I think this is a really tight one, and looking forward to seeing the doubleheader as it is. You're getting four North County teams that all stepped up, 3 from one league in that doubleheader tonight at USD. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. And I think ultimately the winner of our San Diego Section Open Division probably gets the 1 seed for Division I SoCal Regional, the way that these Southern Section teams have opted out.
Dave, your thoughts? And before we go, Dave, your social media posts during the show, 99% of them great. Why are you showing how dirty the studio is today? This is chaos, and you're panning a little far to the right.
A little too far?
It's okay.
My bad. I was trying to get the TV in the background. I was trying to get that and just tag RB on it.
Hell yeah, brother.
And the last thing, I'll go back. I did pick RB over Torrey when the brackets came out. So if I go the other way now, then do I get credit for both of them? How does that work exactly?
Well, no, Bodie.
Because all I ever hear is I only hear the ones where I didn't pick the right one.
Of course.
So congrats to San Marcos.
So Bodie, you deviated from your usual plan. Historically speaking, you have published in written word one pick and then come on the podcast to do another pick and hedged your bets.
Can I say that both teams are going to have fun and all that?
You cannot pull a Tommy Morris.
There will be a game played tonight.
I just got to give love to Brady Dokken for his performance against Cathedral. He shoved. He's a Cal State Fullerton commit, 1.65 ERA. I mean, congrats to you, man. That was a really tough team to put away in the last game of the season. You know, my squad, my beloved Cathedral, really. You know, I thought they had a fantastic season. Cathedral really came through for me in terms of
they were Open Division semifinalists.
Yeah.
That's an amazing season for any school.
And them and Granite still do reach the regional playoffs as well.
So. Really feel like we had about 6 number 1 teams throughout the entire season that we could have said, hey, these teams are all number 1 worthy.
Yep.
So really fun watching Cathedral this year. You know, and RB's got some pitching left. So,
yeah, you
know, they got Mason Garris. He's got a .97 ERA. He's a lefty. They got Josh Johnson. You know, what's happened with Torrey is that they pitch and they don't have to put up a bunch of runs. So if they've got Jack Schwamberg left, if they've got any innings,
it'll be him, so he pitched the Tuesday game, so it'll be Brendan Miller today, who's been great as a starter this year, Fairfield commit, and then Jace Barajas and Jude Atley, their 2 relievers have not pitched. So those are the 3 I would expect to see on their side. And from RB, Josh Johnson, Mason Garris, those are the 2 that are going to fill a lot of their innings.
Yeah, I really think this is going to come down to, you know, a 6-5 game. It's gonna have more offense, but it's going to be a tight game. So really, I could flip a coin with this one, but I'm going to take Torrey Pines and how good their pitching has been and shutting out a team that's a little bit down on hitters right now. They had a few injuries in their lineup, and you got to give them credit, man. Every time something has happened to RB this year, they have stepped up and, had a few injuries and whooped on Cathedral to finish the year.
The
It's like,
opening round of Open, I saw them against Eastlake. It's a 1-1 game, bottom 6. Hugo Gonzalez comes up, 2-run double, wins that one 3-1. So they've had guys throughout the lineup step up when they've needed.
Hugo's a guy. You don't want to face him with runners on base. He is extremely tough to pitch to. He reminds me of like a Jose Altuve. Super small zone, just can hit everything. Very athletic. Yeah, he's one of their top. He's probably their vibes guy if we're going to talk about vibes. And Hugo's my guy for vibes. And then, but yeah, like I said, man, this is one of those games where you got to give credit to the teams and how well they've played to get to here. This is a very tough road to get to this position. So.
Well, and now all that's left to do is actually play the games. Make sure you follow Bodie at SD Preps on Twitter or download the SB Live Sports app so you get all the live results. You can also follow SD Prep Insider or DR Player Development or Dave Ring Hitting or whatever his social media changes to based off of who has hacked his account or whatnot.
Yeah, we got games over the next 3 days, so get out there. USD, UCSD, all great environments, and yeah.
I just want to close.
Hope
on
to
this
see
note.
great crowds.
This is not the last show. We will do at least one more episode for state playoffs and our normal fantasy draft and whatnot. But every year there seems to be a weird sort of nostalgia of former baseball players coming up in conversation here. And some years it's like a Nevin Child, or some years it's a Hoffman or something like that. The fact that it's Aaron Harang and Rod Barajas this year that have come up in conversation just in this show alone, man, you can't beat this. We don't have anyone. Oh, okay. And just in time to say, go Pointers. Closing it out. Go Pointers. There's literally nothing left to talk about, intern. You just come
thanks
in to
for
give
coming
some
for the
final,
end of the
some
show.
final love. All right. On that note, we will say you guys watching the show all season, love you.
Aren't you